Good morning. There's a new report that's come out this week from PwC saying that 80% of businesses aren't seeing ROI from AI yet. So I'm going to give you a diagnosis of that and talk about the 3 reasons why businesses aren't seeing that ROI and give you 9 questions that you can ask, killer questions, for your organisation to help you move this forward. So 3 reasons, 3 questions for each. Let me just share a picture and we'll scribble and we'll see how this goes. So what boards are telling us, they can't see a clear impact coming. They feel like technology teams turn up and talk jargon at them, but it's difficult to know what decisions to make on the back of that. Vendors are promising the earth, doing pilots, but like no idea why or how it's going to scale and give that proper ROI. And that's important because I see more money being thrown at AI than any other technology without that clear line of sight. People are stuck in pilots, right? Stuck between promising pilots and that enterprise level risk. And actually, the second most common inquiry I get is from technology companies going, everything you talk about is happening in our customer, and what do we do about it? And then there's no alignment. Like different members of leadership teams have different views on risk, on priorities, on ownership. So how should we be thinking about this? So to my mind, there's like the 3 dimensions of what people should be talking about. So the first one is possibility. And this is the most exciting one, right? Because this technology seems like magic. But most companies at the moment are approaching AI from below. So thinking, what can we automate? How do we reduce our workforce? And they're digitizing things that are happening today and calling it a transformation. The real transformation is the other way around. So Matthew Tregus and I talk about approaching the limit from above. So imagining everything can be digitized, everything can be done by an AI agent, and then work backwards from that. So not how do we use AI to do what we already do faster, but actually what would our company look like if we built it from scratch? How would we be if we were born today? So when you get this wrong, the analogy is you're building a faster horse, right? You're operating less for less. Your competitors might be building a car. Every rule of thumb you have in your business is still a rule of thumb, but actually AI is there and it could calculate the right answer for you. Think of it like it's been raining AI for years, right? 2 years ago, AI strategy might have been an umbrella, but 2026, it's a flood, you need a boat. When you get it right, you're like laddering up. So if you think that bottom tier, which is still worth going after, is efficiency savings, but next to that is better decisions. This technology can enable you to calculate things that, you've always been able to calculate, but it took too long, right? And then that top tier is this genuine reimagination, right? How might our marketplace change? What might our customers do now that they have this technology too? What does the process look like when you've subtracted things, not just added them? So think about what AI makes possible that wasn't possible before and how your marketplace changes. So those convoluted customer complaint systems that have been put in place to deter people, now the reality is your customers can set a machine on that. Never gets tired, never gets bored, never gives up. What does it mean commercially? it means growth, right? Growth into new markets, more competitive advantage. Yes, reducing the cost base or increasing productivity is an interesting place to start, but it's not the end game. So 3 questions you might ask. If we stopped this AI initiative today or tomorrow, what business outcome are we going to lose? If you're not clear on that, kill it. Second question, is this opportunity aimed at a problem that the business already feels? Or is it a solution that a vendor has told you will solve a problem that you didn't know existed? Third question, are you just automating how you work today? Mess with less. Or are you reimagining what becomes possible tomorrow? Have you thought about how your marketplace will change? And yes, the leadership team might not need to think about it right now, but perhaps your board does. Okay. Component 2, proof. So in order to have some success, you need to find some value in the real world, right? Not in a slide pack. AI, it feels like magic. Some of the things we can do just feel so phenomenal and amazing. Like if you've ever used something like Fathom to be a transcript on your call, and it can send out the minutes and the actions, and it's almost magic. But AI is not magic. It is software, it's statistical models, and it responds to good briefing, good data, and using the right tool for the job. But most AI business cases are kind of built in a fantasy land. They're a theoretical ROI, they're a vendor demo on clean data, they're a pilot that you've done on something that they cared about, so you could do a pilot on it, but no one cared about it, so where are you going to go with it next? So there's a real knowing, doing gap. Lots of companies I talk to do have a slide pack that has been built for them on how they should be using AI. Doesn't help them know what to do next. They've been to conferences, they've seen demos, they know AI matters, but they don't know how to convert it into a P&L impact, right? So what happens? You scale something that wasn't proven, or you do a big deal with a vendor on something. You pilot forever, but you never scale anything because you've picked the wrong pilot. I am really not a fan of quick wins, right? Quick wins feel good. They're good for the project, but they teach you nothing about the hard part. Your pilot has been successful, but it's a quick win. So it's like you can't solve climate change by installing some energy efficient light bulbs. Sure, it's good, it makes a change, but it teaches you nothing about the gnarly parts. And if you're sitting in the exec team, you see these pilots, but you just can't see how they're going to build up. Or worse than that, your teams are spending all their time and energy on building a business case. Whereas these days, there's this real shortcut between ideas and being able to test them and try them, right? Prototyping is low cost in the hands of users. So are you really getting value out of building these business cases? But when you get it right, you've tested something on your problem, on your data, with your people, your domain experts, the experts in your business, can actually build the thing. You don't have to give it to IT and it takes months. And even those things that are prototypes can make it into production if they have the right kind of cybersecurity and controls around them. Right? A team can run an AI document review on 200-page bundle, and they can say, oh, those 6 documents are missing. They're those 3 inconsistencies between the text here, right? You can know exactly what metric you're moving by how much before you invest the big bucks. And then the business case writes itself because the evidence is already there, right? You found the value and you're building around value right up front. And you can pick the hard problem because that's the one that ladders up, right? When you are prototyping and testing, you need to test the risky things about the big thing, not do the easy things. Where do we see the most expensive AI failure? It's probably not building the wrong thing either. It's spending 6 months prioritizing, trying to decide what you should be doing. So when building is nearly free and fast, that expensive delay is the thing that maybe you should be worried about. Let's think about 3 questions we might ask. So, have you tested this on real work with real people using real data? Or does it still exist on slideware? And by the way, that is why I left consulting the first time around and went back into industry, because I did great stuff on PowerPoint and no one ever implemented it, right? Don't be that guy. Can you name the specific metric outcome that you're trying to move, and can you show by how much it has moved? And the third question, are you adding AI as an ingredient to how you work, or are you buying it as a whole meal that you don't really need? Okay, the vendor's not on your side, they're on their side. Sometimes your objectives align, but not always. And then the third one, which you're probably going to think is slightly off base, politics, right? This is actually where most AI initiatives die. Teams want to pilot something amazing, but then discover that no one senior enough cares about what happens next. And people complain to me about stakeholder resistance as though it's like an obstacle to doing real work. It is the real work. If you're the leader, this is your job now. Sorry, but it's true. It's not that stakeholders don't get it. It's that you haven't explained it in a way that talks about something that they really care about. So when you get this wrong, what happens is you do a successful pilot, goes and sits in a drawer, team can't figure out what to do next. A few months later, the people involved, they start leaving or disengaging or moving on to other things. Your tech vendor starts calling, going, what's happening? And then the people that really want to get it done, they reroute around the entire system. This is where your shadow AI kind of comes in, right? Hidden, behind the scenes, not compliant. Then you get to like a year later, the organisation spent a load of money, you've lost momentum, and then the next AI thing that comes along is like, oh, we tried that, didn't work. But maybe you never gave it the chance to work. And the only reason this hasn't become a competitive issue is actually that your customers have this sort of friction too, right? The marketplace isn't changing because customers are like you. They have this friction, they find it difficult to change. And so your moat might still be there now, but how long is it going to be there? When you get it right in this politics space, right? You have owners. It's clear from a senior level who's got ownership for this, not down at a low level in the organisation. It's absolutely clear who can say yes. You can often find people that can say no, but who can say yes, they're in the room. They're in the room from the start. And I always say, teams need to work on a problem that the business really cares about, because then you never have to keep going back asking for permission. And I always say, like, seek out the lazy people, right? That person that's been using AI to skip the tedious work, they're ahead. Don't punish them. Bring them on board, get them to drive the bus with you. And have some governance, have some hard rules. Make policy about what you're going to do with data. It will let you go faster. Flexibility in a framework, right? And when you get this right, your senior business leader, not your CTO, or senior business leader goes and stands on the stage and says what a success this has been, or gets quoted in one of these reports by PwC, right? And here's the thing. Your management team is conflicted. They're proposing AI investments. They're not objective. Your vendors don't rely on them. They're conflicted too. I mean, they're trying to sell you stuff. That doesn't mean that they're wrong. You may well need these things, but they're not unbiased. So how do you get that independent perspective that starts with what your business wants to achieve, not someone else's product roadmap? And if your board's not playing that role, we can help upskill them. But this isn't about that. This is about kind of a diagnosis today. So 3 questions. Has management named a single accountable owner and decided what success looks like? Have they picked a problem they really care about and given someone a mandate? Secondly, what existing investment or priority is being displaced to fund it? This is the number of big ideas, great ideas that your organisation has, right? This is the number that you've got capacity to do something about. So it's more than, is it just a good idea? It's like, is this something we're going to start with now? If it fails, if it's not the right thing, it hasn't got the value, just pick something else off the pile. No one's got a shortage of ideas. They've got a shortage of priorities. And thirdly, who has the authority to say no? And have they been asked? Sometimes it's lots of people who have the authority to say no. Sometimes it's even quite low down the organisation. So who's got the authority to say no, and have they been asked? Which brings me on to, why is your organisation not getting value? Generally, people are doing 2 out of 3 of these things right, okay? So if you've got possibility and you've got proof, but you've got no politics, that is innovation theatre. Right? You've got brilliant prototypes. You've gone full lean startup on it. You've thought imaginatively, but you just don't know how to scale. You do not have any of the mechanisms, no government, no governance, no name donor, no budget, right? You're dead in the water. You just don't know it yet. If you've got proof and you've got politics, but you've got no possibility, this is what I call operating mess for less. In the next 12 months isn't a bad place to be, by the way, but you'll have working tools, you've got some governance, but you're just automating your existing processes. You've built a faster horse. Your AI native competitor is building a car, reimagining the market. So maybe a good place to start. This year, maybe that's your focus, but no, there's more to come from AI and you need to think bigger. And then if you've got possibility and you've got politics, but you've got no proof, this one is expensive slideware. Okay, maybe some insert name of own management consultant here has built you a deck. It's bold, feels amazing, everyone's energized, it's got a governance framework, it's got a sponsor, but none of it's tested on the real world. And this bit in the middle, this is where we talk about AI being an ingredient, not a meal, and what this looks like, right? Your AI is going to disappear into the way your business works. Your business leader standing on stage, or the expectations have been surpassed, and AI is a contributing factor. If the project's still called the AI project when it's done, it hasn't worked, right? This is about business outcomes. This is about opportunity. And so, to recap, this technology, it feels like magic, right? It's amazing, but it doesn't work in isolation, and you need good governance. So have a look at what you're doing. Think about it through these three lenses. So do you have possibility? Are you thinking big enough? Do you have proof? Are you in the real world of real data, real customers, real users? Are you learning from the real world? Do you have the politics? Is this backed? Is this understood at senior levels? Are you explaining what it is well enough to allow it to succeed? Where are things lacking today? Do you have innovation data? Do you have expensive slideware? Are you just doing mess for less? Let me know how you're getting on and whether this resonated for you.